Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keeping Score with Dylan and Jack, a podcast show dedicated to bringing analysis of Rutgers sports and sports around the country. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Hoodie Jack.
Today, we'll go over Rutgers' matchup with Nebraska on Friday night. Aaron Judge's 62nd home run in his historic season, and then we'll end it off with a little NFL talk, as both our teams are 3-1, so it's a nice thing to talk about.
Do I have that right for the camera? 3-1?
I
think I do.
Might be 1-3. You might be looking like a Commanders fan right now, but
there are Commander fans out there?
There are Commander fans
Wow.
out there. Few and far between.
I know there's a thing on training camp when they were like making jokes. Is like there's like 2 people at their training camp.
I don't know who would want to watch Carson Wentz train, but I digress.
That's a great point.
So we'll start with Rutgers, obviously coming off a loss against Ohio State, where they had the lead for a minute and a half, which I'm sorry, it's progress. That is progress right there. Because
Give it up, come on. They had the lead. Like
a muffed punt, Adam Korsak doing what he does best. Sean Ryan's first touchdown catch was part of the program. Evan Simon had a couple nice balls on Saturday. Gotta say. I mean, obviously, made a lot of mistakes, played one of the best defenses in the country. You know, what are you going to do? But this week, much more attainable game. Like, really a must-win game. If the goal is to get to a bowl. I mean, we talked about it last time with Brian Fonseca that maybe the goal is improvement, 5-7. But if they do want to go 6-6 and get to a bowl game, it's a must-win game on Friday night.
it's the season. If you want to go to a bowl game, it really is. Like I don't want to make no bones about it. We had an opportunity against Iowa a couple weeks ago. Great environment, great night game. Not a great game, but you know it is what it is. We have to move on. And if you want to make a bowl game, if you're Greg Schiano and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, you have to win this game, and then you have to follow up a win in this game with a win against Indiana in 2 weeks at home. These 2 games, they're the season, and it starts with Friday night.
Yeah, those are probably the 2 most winnable games left on the schedule. Then you got a couple toss-up games. Michigan State has looked pretty awful. You know, Rutgers could beat them.
It's a road game, though.
No, I'm saying they're toss-up games. Like Maryland is a toss-up game. And I mean, other than that, like we're probably not going to beat Minnesota. They look great. We're definitely not going to beat Michigan. I don't see us beating Penn State as much as everyone on this campus would love it. I don't see it this year. They look great. Yeah. But, ultimately, I think it's going to be an interesting game on Friday. I think it's going to be like Big Ten football. It's going to be run the ball down the middle, waste time. Because, I mean, if you look at Rutgers, their rushing offense has more yards than their passing offense. And Nebraska is allowing 200 rushing yards a game. So I think it's going to be a downhill battle. The offensive line showed a lot of fight against Ohio State. I think that's something you really want to see. Samuel Brown V is someone who I was really impressed with. He had 81 yards on 15 carries, and he's a freshman in his 5th game. I think he's going to get a lot more carries this week, and he could be the X factor.
I'm laughing because you just said it like 15 minutes ago in the office.
It was in one of my keys, too. One of my keys to the game in my article.
If you didn't read Dylan's 3 keys to the game, read it, man, because one of them is win. Literally, just win. You have it might sound easy to say, but literally, for all the reason I just said, we have to win this game if they want to make a bowl.
Yeah, I wanted to do There Is No Tomorrow, but I don't think anyone would get the Rocky 3 reference, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
for sure. But just to put a cap on the Ohio State game, we've mentioned it a couple times. I'm gonna echo what Aaron Brightman said in his rapid reaction, which is this game really didn't matter last week. It didn't matter. Like it literally the only thing that you had to take away from it is that we are all healthy. Like Noah Vedral played, he didn't get injured further. We left the game healthy with no injuries, and there's really nothing to say because there's only like 1 or 2 teams in the entire country that can out-talent Ohio State, and one of them is not Rutgers. So, there's really nothing you could say. We led for, like, a little bit because Ohio State muffed the punt, but, like, we all knew they were going to lose. But, it would have to taken, like, another special teams error, multiple turnovers by the defense, probably a couple defensive touchdowns, too, because you got to make up for that offense on Rutgers that really can't do anything. So it would have taken a generational performance from the defense and special teams. I'm talking, like, if college football had fantasy, like a 30-point Rutgers defense and special teams game. But, it didn't happen. I think everyone expected what happened on Saturday, and we just got to move on. You made some points about the Nebraska game. I'm not going to reiterate them because you already said them. I think the run game is going to be really important. And, just playing defense is going to be really important as well because the Rutgers defense is really good. But I want to talk about also the environment because it's a Friday night game. Rutgers doesn't have a lot of Friday night games. We don't have a lot of night games, period. I was talking to Gavin Struve, who's with the Daily Nebraskan sports editor last night. He asked me what was important about this game and if a Friday night game was important. And I said more so it's a night game. It being like, under the lights, all the light shows, just being at night, the environment and all that. I think that's really important for this game. So it's going to be a great atmosphere again. And, I'm expecting a close game, like you said, Dylan. Big Ten football, two teams that both want to win, especially in Rutgers' part because of all the factors I said before with the bowl game. So really expecting a good game. There's one thing that I would definitely want to expect from, an atmosphere perspective. Paint the end zones black, have the block R in the middle of the field be black as well for the blackout.
I like that. I'm a fan. I mean,
I don't think they're going to do it, but
I think the running game is important. I mean, another thing that I said in my article is protect the football. I mean, they've had 5 turnovers in the last 2 weeks, and obviously against Iowa, 2 of those turnovers were returned for touchdowns. And, Rutgers really did not play that bad against Iowa. I don't think even without the 2 turnovers that they would have won the game, but I think it would have been close. I think it would have been competitive. But obviously, being down 14-3 at half really put us behind the
It was a 2 turnover, two defensive touchdowns.
The end of the game.
It's the end of the game.
Honestly, after the Cooper DeJean pick 6, I knew we were gonna lose. But
I think it was. Was it the fumble because there was a specific moment where I knew the game was over. I think it was
the fumble made it 14-3.
The fumble by Youngblood made
the pick 6 was first, and then the fumble happened.
I think it was the fumble. When the fumble happened, I was like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
With our offense against that defense, no way we get back. I'm as big of a Rutgers fan as anyone else, but I didn't see it right there.
No, I agree. And I mean, the running game obviously going to be important. I think it's interesting, too, at quarterback. You had Noah Vedral get the start, but it was really Evan Simon's game. He played most of the snaps.
Why did Vedral even play?
He didn't have one passing attempt. It's kind of like Johnny Langan, where if he's lining up at the quarterback position, I mean, it looks like he's going to run the ball. And Greg Schiano even said in his press conference this week, he said, Noah is going to do what he can do. Mm-hmm. And I took that to mean that Noah is a average to below average passer, so when he's in the game, he's going to run the option or an RPO type play. I don't really see him dropping back and throwing a lot of passes this week. I think that's mostly going to be Evan Simon again. I think it's going to be Simon's game.
So you think it's going to be Evan Simon there?
Unless Wimsatt is magically, I think Wimsatt is dealing with a long-term injury. I don't think he maybe it was Ohio State.
It's just frustrating that we don't know.
It is frustrating, but I mean, Greg Schiano very notorious for keeping things close to his chest. I think his pregame interview this week was 6 minutes. He's not a guy with a lot of words. He saves it for his team. He's a motivator. He's a guy that makes you want to play for him. He's not really a guy who puts it all out there. Kind of keeps the program to himself. But I think Simon has earned the right to start another game or be the quarterback in another game. I think Wimsatt's still injured. I don't see him playing this week. If anything, I could see him playing against Indiana. But I think Simon made a couple nice throws, especially the fact that he was playing against, one of the best defenses in the country. The touchdown throw was great. Hitting Sean Ryan in the corner of the end zone. He had another nice ball to Ryan later in the game, a 30-yard pass. So I think it's going to be important to, sparingly get him the ball and get throws out there because, Nebraska's going to start keying in. I don't see Johnny Langan going up the middle for 100-something yards like he did against Purdue 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. I guess kind of to shift this conversation, I wanted to talk about some of the game notes that are available on ScarletKnights.com for anyone who might not have seen the game preview. I just want to list off some of the things that I was reading through that I thought were pretty interesting. So the last matchup between Rutgers and Nebraska was the end of the 2020 season. You may remember it. It was at SHI Stadium with no fans. Nebraska won 28-21. Yeah. Christian Izien had 4 turnovers. Cruikshank had a 98-yard kickoff return touchdown. I remember that. So that was a huge game. I remember that actually. It was really cold and all that. I
was in the studio for WRSU that game, and I remember Nebraska had 400 rushing yards that game. And I remember just thinking it was 2020. We were the only team that didn't have a game canceled or anything. And I was these guys are tired. I think
for sure
they were done with their season. Not to take anything away from the guys on that team. They played a hard fought game, but stamina wise, I think they didn't really have it anymore. For sure. I think talent wise, that team could have beat Nebraska, but I think it's going to be a lot different this year. I mean, if you want to do your prediction or not.
Yeah, we'll do the predictions, when I'm done reading off some of this stuff. So the first Big Ten game between the two was in Lincoln, Nebraska in 2014. Remember this name, Leonte Carew, total 127 receiving yards, 71-yard touchdown from Gary Nova. Nebraska won their first meeting in Piscataway in 2015, 31-14. They fell behind 21-0, and then they came back and won 31. No. I think I had that wrong. Rutgers fell behind 21-0. They ended up losing 31-14. Dylan, I have a question for you.
Sure.
First meeting between the two programs took place in what year and where?
Dude, I read the game preview. It was 1920 in the Polo Grounds. I read the game.
Fair enough. We got a very prepared host right here. Good job.
Listen, I'm a big fan, and I'm very good at knowing irrelevant stats, but I did not know that. Like, I read the game. That was not something that came from my brain. That was ScarletKnights.com.
1920 in the Polo Grounds. Where's the Polo Grounds?
New York.
Well, obviously.
In, like, Brooklyn, I think.
In Brooklyn?
I think that was where the Brooklyn Dodgers played, or the New York Giants when they were a baseball team.
Dodgers played Ebbets Field.
Okay, so it was the New York Giants when they were a baseball team.
Polo Grounds is the name of 3 stadiums in Upper Manhattan, New York City, used mainly for the professional baseball and American football from 1880 to 1963.
The Wikipedia section of this podcast.
No, don't use the Wikipedia for your papers, students out there.
I would hope college.
For general information, I think Wikipedia is pretty good at this stuff. That's where the Yankees played. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, occasionally. Yeah. But
keeping score, Polo Grounds edition right here.
I'm a Polo Grounds truther. Bring back the Polo Grounds.
And of course, Nebraska won that game 28-0, 102 years ago.
Of course.
So, those are some of the fast facts right there from Rutgers and Nebraska. And they'll be continuing this 102-year history apparently that they have right now. So, McCoy, give me your prediction for Rutgers versus Nebraska.
So I just want to say, first of all, I got a lot of abuse in the office last week or 2 weeks ago for not picking Rutgers, but I was right. I didn't think we were there yet.
You and Abe.
Yeah.
Abe.
And we're realists, but I think this week, Rutgers, is really in a good spot. They got out of Ohio State healthy. I don't think anyone in the program expected to win, so I don't think they're like going in with no momentum.
Shiano can say whatever he wants about we're going there to win this football game. Like, no. You're human. Deep down, you know that you're going up against Goliath. So
yeah. And I mean, I think Rutgers and Nebraska are very similar teams. They've had a really hard time passing the ball early in the season. They both run very well. I think Rutgers' defense might be a little bit better than Nebraska's. We've seen Nebraska kind of, really struggle early in their season. So I think Rutgers is going to win this game. I'm going to say 28-14. And I think Samuel Brown is going to emerge as the leading running back and have 120 yards and a touchdown.
I hope so, for sure.
I think the potential I see in him and the way he runs the ball is something that I haven't seen in a long time from a Rutgers running back. He's the closest thing resembling Isaiah Pacheco I've seen since he left the program.
So you're pretty bullish on how many points Rutgers is going to get at the end of the day. 28.
I think
28 would be a season high, McCoy. Are you recognizing that? Don't
they
count
scored
Wagner.
Like 80 against
Don't
Wagner.
count Wagner. Don't count
that's
Wagner.
Fair. That's fair. But I think that, and I think Nebraska has also had a tendency to turn the ball over a lot early this season. So I think at least one defensive turnover is going to put Rutgers in good field position. So that's part of it too.
I just feel like with these Rutgers games, it's going to be so important with turnovers.
Time of
every
possession
game.
Too.
And time of
possession is going to be massive.
It's just when you got an offense like Rutgers has, you got to be able to take advantage of mistakes by the opponent and take advantage of you not turning the ball over yourself. Because you're not going to be able to overcome it. This is not like Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and the Chiefs, and where they can fall down 24-0 and then come back and win a playoff game. This is not that offense.
They just don't have at least last year or 2 years ago, they had Bo Melton, who was a guy that if you gave him the ball and he got out in open space, he could score from 80 yards away. But they don't really have
and
they don't have a lightning.
Who else they have?
Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
And
the man who's killing on the Chiefs right now.
Aaron Cruikshank is the in theory that guy, but they don't really have a lightning offense that can move down the field. They will have 8-9 minute drives where they score. That is what they specialize in.
I think Cruikshank could be really good.
Absolutely.
With the right system.
Absolutely. I mean, what was it? Boston College. He ran jet sweep for a touchdown. It was that kind of idea, a double reverse for a touchdown.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Rutgers 28-14. I think the offense steps up this week. I think they take advantage of Nebraska. I don't particularly think Nebraska is very good. I'm also gonna put that out there.
They also don't have a coach right now, so
yeah, they just fired their coach. I mean, not that Scott Frost was doing anything great.
No disrespect to Mickey Joseph, but he's the interim.
It's hard
coach.
Playing with an interim coach.
Yeah.
Rutgers probably had the best interim coach they could have a couple years ago in Nunzio Campanelli, and they weren't that great. So.
Right. Well, so Dylan thinks that Rutgers is going to score their season high on Friday.
Take that to the bank.
Minus the Wagner game. But so here's my prediction. As McCoy usually likes to say, some of us here at the Targum Sports Desk like to be Nostradamus with our predictions.
Oh, you get technical with it.
Here we go. I'm going to be Nostradamus here. With my prediction, I'm picking 17-13 Rutgers.
I like it.
I think I don't think we're going to get into the high 20s like you do. I think it's going to be a knockout, drag it out, Big Ten football game with two teams that are roughly the same talent-wise and at the same level of program. I think it's going to be a good game. I hope it's a good game. It'll be the first close game that's decided in the fourth quarter that I've ever been to at that stadium. So if that's, I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah, so this is how I kind of see at least the game ending. I think it's going to be 13-10 Nebraska, winding down the fourth quarter. Rutgers is going to go on a Temple-like drive, and Johnny Langan at the 1-yard line with approximately 9 seconds to go on a 3rd and goal with 9 seconds to go. Johnny Langan, the classic, give me the ball, and I'm going to run right through the middle of the offensive line into the end zone, touchdown the entire SHI Stadium with all the people in the blackout gear and shakers and all that going crazy, and it's going to be over like that. 17-13 Rutgers. McTamaney gets the game-winning field, or not the game winner, but the extra point to make it 17-13. We walk away 4-2, 4-2,
4-2,
and one step closer to a bowl game.
Jack, if all that happens, I will be asking you for the Powerball numbers the next day.
Just buy me a select. Just buy me select things around campus if that happens.
Yeah, select. All right, we'll move on from the Rutgers game to quickly talk about someone that's near and dear to my heart. Big Aaron Judge, as you may know him, hit his 62nd home run last night. And, I didn't see the Barry Bonds 2001 to 2004. This is the best offensive season I've ever seen from a baseball player. He didn't take a contract last season that he thought was less than his value. And, I mean, look at him now. He's probably going to make $350 million next offseason.
Look at me now. I mean, hey, he bet on himself. Like, I think it's different with – look, there's a lot of, talk about betting on yourself in professional sports, whether it be football, basketball,
some guys
baseball.
Show up for a contract here. It really does affect the way you play, I think.
In baseball, I think it's a better decision to bet on yourself than football, I'd say, because let's take the example of Aaron Judge and Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson's balling the F out right now. Like, he is playing incredible. But the thing with football is, you well know, as Chris well knows, and everyone else knows.
You could say balling out, but he did kind of cost his team the game this week. Don't want to pick in the red zone.
I'm just looking at the season so far. He's playing great.
All right.
And as all football fans know, it's a very physical game, and by the snap of a finger, you could be out for the season. Just look at, unfortunately, all the injuries we've seen.
Javonte Williams, apparently that's a career-threatening injury.
Yeah, I'm feeling really for Javonte
sad.
Williams.
Yeah,
it can just flip on a dime. Yes, of course, anything can flip on a dime, but in football, it's more so. Now, we're talking about baseball right now. Aaron Judge, we're playing a lot less risky of a sport. I think it was smart for him to bet on himself, and look, he's having this unbelievable season that I've been hearing about ever since it started, basically.
You've been hearing about it from me incessantly.
Dylan Allen, everyone, my dad even, everyone's buying into this Aaron Judge season. So I'm really happy for him. I think he's really earned himself a lot of money, and that's great for him. McCoy, I was asking you this off camera before. Do you think Aaron Judge returns to the New York Yankees?
If he doesn't return to the New York Yankees, the Steinbrenner should sell the franchise because it is the biggest basic move that you could come up with. Like, if you have a product and that product is both winning you games and making you so much money that it could turn your head, how are you not going to re-sign this guy? And who is going to give him more money than the New York Yankees? The New York Yankees are the Scrooge McDuck of franchises, of sports franchises. They have all the money. Everyone hates them. They use it. How are they not going to sign Aaron Judge for $350 million? He had the best offensive season of all time by anyone not named Barry Bonds. And Barry Bonds he's the best player to ever get on a baseball field. So he's in another stratosphere. But Aaron Judge hit .311. He had a .430 on base percentage.
The old heads might be mad at you with saying Barry Bonds is the best baseball player
Everyone juiced.
Babe Ruth.
Everyone juiced in the 90s. Get over yourselves. Roger Maris Jr., your son was great, but Barry Bonds is the home run king. I love Aaron Judge. Barry Bonds is the home run king. He's the best player who ever lived. And he happened to also take steroids. Those things do not have to be
Babe Ruth, question mark?
Yeah, Babe Ruth played against Plumbers. That's like the Michael. It's like the Michael Jordan argument. It's like the Michael Jordan argument in basketball. He literally played against Plumbers.
He played at the Polo Grounds. Doesn't count. But yeah, I'm personally not as big of a baseball fan as McCoy, but I do know what's going on for sure, and what Aaron Judge is doing is absolutely special.
I mean,
62 home runs. I mean, like, there's a lot of discourse about, like, what record is it and all that. Like, come on now, like 62 home runs in the season. Like,
in my personal opinion, like Barry Bonds has the record. It's 73 home runs. He did that. I would say 80 to 90% of the league was juicing at that time. So like, you just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But if you really
juicing or not, like,
if you really are gonna, like, this is probably the best season from someone who's like 100% clean ever.
For sure. I mean, juicing or not, how many home runs Bonds hit? 70 something.
73.
73 home runs. I don't care if you're like.
You know what's more impressive, Jack? In 2004, he got on base 61% of the time. He had a 610 on base percentage.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But real quick before we switch to our final topic in the NFL. The postseason bracket's set for the MLB, so I'll just ask for your thoughts, McCoy, real quick on the Yankees and how you think they're going to shape up.
I mean, it's World Series or bust. I think that's what it is every year. Yankees and the Astros are going to play in the ALCS. I think that's kind of been determined. They're the best teams, and the Yankees, their starting rotation is a little light. I think they'll go with 3-4-man rotation. Nestor Cortez, Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, maybe someone like, I don't know, Jameson Taillon or Domingo Germán as like a spot starter. But they got a deep bullpen. They got a lot of guys coming back from injury. Zach Britton just came back. Aroldis Chapman just came back. Ron Maracchio just got hurt, but I don't think he'll be out for the postseason. But the problem is the lineup behind Aaron Judge gonna step up, because in the first half of the season the Yankees were having a historic run. Everyone was hitting. We'll see what happens. But Rizzo has kind of been on a slump. Stanton has been getting hot the past week and a half, 2 weeks, so it's perfect. Matt Carpenter might be coming back for the postseason. He was having a historic season in the couple months he was playing. So, it's really all about the role players. And I mean, Oswaldo Cabrera and Oswald Peraza, the young guys who, I think Oswaldo Cabrera's got to be on your postseason roster. He's had a great 2 months since he's gotten called up. But, ultimately, I sound like a spoiled fan, but if the Yankees don't win a World Series, it's a disappointment. That's
for sure.
You got the second highest payroll in baseball. You're giving out all that money. You got a guy who just had the best offensive season I've personally ever seen. If they don't win it, it's a disappointment.
I got one quick question before we wrap this up. Postseason bracket for the MLB. So I see right now.
It's a new format.
Does it work? Does it work like the NFL though? So let's say the Tampa Bay Rays win and the Toronto Blue Jays both win. So that mean the Rays go play the Astros, the 1 seed, because they're the 6 seed. Do you know what I'm saying? Is it like lowest seed remaining?
No. The Yankees will play the winner of the Rays and the Guardians.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah,
that was my question. Okay,
yeah, no, they don't reseed, but
Fair enough.
That's a good question. They just changed the bracket this year. The wild card's 3 games.
I like it. I honestly like it.
I like it too.
6 teams in the playoffs. I think it's good. I think
that's good too. I mean, got the Mets in the playoffs because they just lost their division after being up 11 games in the middle of July, but.
Hey, no Mets fans here, so we won't delve into that.
Mets gonna Met.
I know our former sports editor Lainey Ortiz is probably not happy about that.
Oh, I've seen her. I have her on tweet notifications. She was not happy about that.
For sure. But all right, let's move over to our final topic, which is the National Football League, our beloved National Football League, and the NFC Beast, as I called it.
Let's go.
11-5 total in the division so far. We're not talking about the Eagles. Josh Myers, I'm sorry, we're not talking about the Eagles.
Play a real team and then
we'll talk. A real team and we'll
talk.
Although
I can't say anything because I've watched the Giants play absolute doormats for the first 4 weeks.
Be a real fan base and we'll talk, but I don't know. But my team, the Cowboys, is 3-1 with Cooper Rush. I'm really hoping Dak gets back soon. The discourse around the quarterback controversy is absolutely ridiculous. Dak Prescott's going to be back soon, and he's going to be great. The Giants, by the skin of their teeth, are just winning every game, I feel like.
The Giants, who played Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, and Saquon Barkley at quarterback on Sunday, are 3-1. I still cannot believe it. I know they beat the Bears, and the Bears are awful. I think
they're running a Rutgers-style offense.
I think Justin Fields is kind of, not that he's in a good situation, but I don't know. I don't really see the same from him as I saw when he was getting drafted. But, the Giants won. They're 3-1. And,
hey, they're 3-1, man.
I think this week will be a real litmus test for them when they go play Green Bay in London. I mean, Green Bay's obviously taking a step back. They don't really have a top receiver now, and I think that's hurt them a lot. But
nope, Romeo Doubs. Tune in, the failed Trey experiment fantasy team. Romeo Doubs. He's my flex.
But I think if the Giants beat Green Bay and go to 4-1, I think they really have a chance.
Impressive win.
I think if they're 4-1 after 5 weeks, they got a chance to make the playoffs.
For sure.
They really do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm happy the Giants are 4-1, but or 3-1, but they definitely
trying to jinx us. I see.
They find a way to win games. I mean, they weren't able to find a way to win, in their one loss, which I'll just leave it at that. But it was a it was a competitive game. Yeah, it was a competitive game for sure. But the Giants being 3-1. I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they beat the Packers this week, it'll be.
Listen, man, it's progress.
It's progress.
Brian Daboll has already won my belief. Like, I believe that he is the guy. I believe that Joe Shane is the guy in the front office. They don't have any cap room because of what Gettleman did the past couple of years. So I think next year when he's got money to play with, he's gonna be dangerous. This team's gonna be dangerous.
And I think for the Cowboys, like, what's really winning our games right now is the defense. I mean, Trayvon Diggs. I don't care how much bleep he gets right now. I could say a word right now, but he gets a lot of crap on social media, and I think Trayvon Diggs is easily one of the best corners in the league. He's playing like it. Micah Parsons, one of the best defensive players.
I would agree that he's very hit or miss, though. He's either going to have 2 picks in a game or let up 120 yards.
I haven't seen the 120 yards part this year.
But I will say, Micah Parsons looks generational off the edge.
He's a dog.
He looks like he could be
insert dog emoji for Micah Parsons.
He looks like he could be like a generational Hall of Fame player.
But even then, we got DeMarcus Lawrence, Neville Gallimore, Dorrance Armstrong. Leighton Vander Esch is playing pretty well in the back end. Donovan Leighton Vander Esch is a middle linebacker, but Donovan Wilson in the backfield. We got J.R. Kerr still. I mean, that defense is playing extremely well. So I'm very happy, and we're winning games. We're not scoring a whole lot of points. We haven't hit 30 yet this year, but we're winning games. And once Dak comes back, the offense I think will get back on track. But real quick, Dylan, before we wrap this up, I guess give our score predictions for our respective favorite NFL teams. I'll start. We're playing against the Rams this Sunday at SoFi. Should be a pretty good game. I know the Rams are kind of trying to get back on track. They don't want to go under 500 for the first time in the Sean McVay era after Week 4. I think I saw that at one point today. But I think the Cowboys win that game. I think the Rams are very hit or miss. I think they have one offensive. They have 1.5 offensive weapons: Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee, and that's about it. So it's going to be a good game. I think the Cowboys always bring some drama. Actually, you know what? As I'm thinking about this, I'm going to amend my predictions. We're going to lose because the Cowboys just always find some BS way to lose to the Rams. So it's going to be a good game regardless. I think the Rams win 23-20.
I respect that. So obviously, I mentioned it before. The Giants play at 9 a.m. on Sunday. They play Green Bay in London. And
Dylan will be up and early for that one.
I'll try. The Giants have been pretty good in overseas games. The one I really remember was in 2007 when Eli Manning had a rushing touchdown to beat the Dolphins, which is pretty awesome.
In London?
Yeah, in the Super Bowl year. The first Super Bowl year.
Okay.
So, I think the Giants are going to be able to do enough. I don't think Green Bay's offense really has enough, and I know it's Aaron Rodgers, but, I don't think they have enough to get past the Giants' defense, who's looked pretty stout over the past couple weeks. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau, played 2 games and looks like a star already. Mm-hmm. The back 7, who's been really injured, also looks great. And then Saquon Barkley leads the league in scrimmage yards. He really looks like he's back to his rookie year form, maybe even better. So, I'm going to say Giants 24-21. I think they're going to upset them. I think they're going to be 4-1. And, I think Brian Daboll and Wake Martindale can coach them to a victory. I don't necessarily think it's going to be talent-based. I think they can be coached to a victory in this game.
So Dylan has the Giants going 4-1 at the end of Week 5. I have the Cowboys beating.
If you would have told me the Giants would be 4-1 after Week 5 this season, I would have asked you to see a psychiatrist. That would have been unbelievable. But
I have the Cowboys going 3-2. We'll put the Eagles to bed in Week 6. Don't worry.
Who are they even playing this week?
I think we both agree that we don't like the Eagles. So
you said you want them to be the 2021 Cardinals.
I really do.
That'd be hilarious.
I saw a tweet like that.
Would be hilarious.
Who are the Eagles playing this week? They're playing another really bad team. Oh, they're playing Arizona. Arizona's kind of decent.
Arizona could beat them. Arizona could beat them.
Eagles. It would be great if the Eagles are 5-0 and then they walk in and they lose to Dallas at home and be 5-1.
We'll see. I'd be okay with that. But
we'll see. But Dylan, do you want to wrap things up here?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all for today. Join us next time on Keep You Score for more sports recaps, and make sure to follow the Daily Targum on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for more content.